Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cassandra Taylor from Top Flight Defense Incorporated. I know you can't see my face, but you can hear my voice. And we are here today with Ms. Torres once again, talking about the strategies in building a budget. All right, Ms. Torres, go right ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So today I am going to talk to you guys about budgeting. You're going to learn the basics of budgeting. So we're going to explore the importance of creating and maintaining a budget, examine the differences between wants and needs, and you're going to be able to set goals for spending, savings, and debt management. So let's get started. My computer's slow. So let's meet Marta. Marta is a 40-year-old woman who works 2 jobs. She has a job at a grocery store, and then she's a hostess at a restaurant. She feels overwhelmed by her debt. She's paid bills late in the past, and one reason is that her personal finances aren't very organized. Marta wants to be able to become more financially stable. So let's look and find some strategies and some steps to be able to help Marta budget wisely and productively. So Marta, she makes $2,000 per month in net income. She feels like she can't make it through the end of the month. So what ways do we think Marta can get herself ahead? Do we think she needs to make a financial plan? Do we think she needs to budget, have a savings, live within her means, or reduce her debt? In reality, all of these make sense. So let's go with all of these. These are all the options that Marta needs to help herself get ahead. When we think of gross and net income, what's the difference? So gross income is the amount of money you earn before anything is taken out for taxes from your pay. Net income is what you're bringing home after all of your taxes and your deductions are taken out of your pay. So in Marta's case, Marta's actually bringing home $2,000 per month. When we think of budgeting, budgeting is considered a plan that you use to help figure out how you're spending your money and to see where your money's going. How can a budget help you? Well, it helps you live within your means. It helps you pay down debt, and it also helps you save for the future and save for emergencies. So let's take a look at some of Marta's needs and some of Marta's wants. So as we look at the list below, we see expenses. Both are some needs and wants of Marta. This is something she's lists every month, and this is everything that she's spending money on. So when we look at some of the things here, we see coffee, groceries, car insurance, cell phone, we see restaurants, entertainment, car payments, we see transportation expenses. Transportation expenses could be car repairs. They could be the gas you're putting in your car, the oil changes that you have within your car. So when we think of transportation expenses, tollway fees, if she's traveling far and taking the toll. So transportation could be a lot of things included in there. Her rent, obviously we all need to live somewhere. Health insurance, medical expenses, we have clothing, utilities, and salon. So let's now figure out what Marta's needs are and which ones are her wants. So when we take a look at this list, we see both wants and needs included in here. Certain things that you're going to see as needs, you're going to see coffee. Some other needs would be her entertainment, or excuse me, not needs, wants. Her wants would be coffee, Her wants would be restaurants, entertainment, clothing. Clothing could be a want or a need. I'll get back to that in a minute. We have salon. So those are all some of Marta's wants. Her needs would be like her groceries, car insurance. Obviously, if you have a car, you need to have car insurance, cell phone, car payment. Again, if you have a car, rent, utilities, because you need to pay your water, your gas bill, things like that. When we think of clothing, clothing can be considered both a need and or a want. It becomes a want when you're buying excessive amounts of clothing. It's a need when, for example, you have children and your children are outgrowing their items, or maybe it's now we're heading into winter and you need a winter coat because yours is ripped or, again, too small. That's when clothing becomes a need. Again, it's a want if we're buying excessive amounts of clothing, or we're just buying clothing just to buy. So when we think of Marta, again, she's making $2,000 per month. We've talked about what is a want and what is a need. So let's see how much her needs and wants are costing her and where she can free up some funds. So when we see the list that we looked at earlier for her wants and her needs, you can see that Marta's needs are about $1,485 and her wants are totaling $330. Based on the information, it looks as if Marta is in fact living within her means. However, it's not accounting for her paying down debt, which we explained earlier, that she's in debt. She has trouble at times making her credit card payments. So this isn't counting any of her debt. So if we needed to cut some of Marta's expenses, these are some things that we can do to free up funds. Or if you are tight, maybe, these are some things you can do to free up funds for yourself. You can cut expenses. You can find ways to reduce your spending, price shop for services. You can think about a new job. So maybe if your job isn't paying enough, maybe you need to move jobs, or maybe you need to look for a second job. If you have hobbies or you have a great talent, consider freelancing or gig work for extra funds. You can also, garage sales can give you extra funds. Just selling certain items can help. When we think of Marta in ways that she can reduce or cut her spending, we know that Marta's spending $40 a month on coffee. Something Marta can do. Many of us are going to Starbucks all the time, or we're going to Dunkin'. We can buy a Starbucks K-Cup or a Dunkin' bag of coffee and make it at home and just pay cents on the dollar for the cup of coffee for the day versus spending $3 if you're going to Dunkin', or $5 or $6 if you're going to Starbucks. Something we can also do is restaurants. So maybe cutting down on some of the restaurants. Entertainment is something else that Marta can cut down. Or maybe it's the salon. Maybe Marta's going to the salon a couple times a month, and one way she can cut back is just maybe go once a month. So the whole point of this is figuring out how much income you have and really breaking down your expenses in both your needs and your wants. It's important to have wants as well. You know, we work, right? We work hard, many of us. We want to be able to indulge, and we want to be able to have some fun. Imagine if we only worked just for our needs, we'd be miserable all the time. So having some wants is important. It's just understanding our needs come first, and there may be times that we need to reduce some of our expenses, and one way to do that would be to reduce our wants versus our needs. If for some reason you didn't have a lot of wants, or you didn't want to give up some of those wants, there's been a couple classes that I've had, you know, everyone's different. Some are willing to give up their coffee. Others are willing to give up their entertainment. Some don't even want to give up their salon, but they're willing to give up other things. Some of the things that you can do is also when you're thinking of rent, when you're looking at your rent, you know, are you living in a home that's too expensive? You know, what one way to cut back is look for alternative places to rent, or when we're looking at groceries, using coupons, shopping in bulk, especially if we have a larger family. That's one way to help cut back on groceries. The slide also mentioned price shop for services. So shopping, if you own your own home, for homeowners insurance, many of us we buy our home or we refinance our home, we select our insurance company, and we tend to stick with that company, you know, because it's coming out of our mortgage every month. So we're, you know, it's out of sight, out of mind, but that it can increase. So just knowing when to shop around. Same thing for car insurance. If you have, you know, phone services, cell phone services, just every now and then price shop. You know, the only thing that it would do is just take up a little bit of your time, but you might be able to save by doing so. I actually, when I started doing some of these workshops, budgeting workshops, it did teach me to go back and start researching and shopping for services. So I actually was able to shop for car insurance and found a better plan, more options for less of the cost. So price shopping is always great. So now we talked about ways to cut back some of our spending, and we looked at Marta's expenses. Now let's take a look at Marta's debt. So when we look at Marta's debt, we see that she has 2 credit cards and she's currently paying a student loan. So she has a credit card with a balance of $400 and an interest rate of 23%. She has a credit card of $300 with the interest rate at 18%. And then she has her student loan for $7,000 at 12%. So her student loan payment and credit card payments, you know, she's been trying to pay them off. We talked about earlier, she's paying the minimum balance on her credit cards, but she doesn't seem to be paying them off. She wants to have the opportunity to pay off one of her cards, so that way she can feel that she's getting ahead. So when we look at that, we're going to consider 2 different strategies. The first strategy is the avalanche method, and then the second strategy is the snowball method. So taking a look at the avalanche method, with the avalanche method, you're going to list all your debts from highest to lowest rate. You still need to ensure when you're doing that, you're still making your monthly payments for each other category. So if we're looking at the avalanche method, when it comes to Marta, we're going to choose the highest rate loan to pay off first and still make payments on the other 2. So when we look at the highest rate first, what card would that be? Yvette, I see that you're on and you're not on speak. Do you mind sharing? If we're looking at the avalanche method, when we're looking at Marta.
Oh, so you are asking us questions. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were asking.
If you care to share, I can see you. So either you or Cassandra, if you guys don't mind, what would be the highest rate? What credit card option is she going to use first?
She needs to pay off the credit card A. It's 20%.
Yes. So with the avalanche method, we're paying off the highest interest rate first. So in this case, Marta's going to pay credit card A off first. When we look at the snowball method, you're going to list your debts from smallest to the largest balance. Again, we're going to need to ensure that we're making our monthly payments, at least the minimum payments, and on time. And then we're going to choose the loan with the lowest balance. So in this case, with Marta's debt, we're going to pay off then credit card B because it's the lowest balance first. So one is paying the highest rate. The second one is paying the lowest. When we look at both the avalanche and the snowball method, if you look at which one's going to be better off in saving you money, it's going to be the avalanche method, because obviously the higher rate you're paying, the more money you're going to spend. So paying off the highest rate first is going to save you money. A lot of the times people take advantage and use the snowball method and pay the lowest balance first, just because, for a sense of accomplishment. Marta, she talked about she wanted to pay off one of her credit cards. She wanted to feel like she's getting ahead. This would be one way that she can feel she's getting ahead, is by paying off credit card B first.
Got it. And I apologize for not responding. I'm listening.
No worries. The most important thing when we're looking and creating a budget is really being able to set financial goals. So when we think of Marta, we learned and we talked about her wants and her needs. We figured out ways that we can cut expenses for her to save money. We talked about her paying down debt and gave different options to pay down debt. She has some financial goals, and she has some dreams, right? So we know that changing money habits, it can be challenging. One way to make it easier and to make your goals, your meaningful goals motivate you, is to actually create one. Financial goals are goals that you set for yourself about how you will spend and you will save money. And there's 3 types of goals that you can set. The first one is a short-term goal, which is something you accomplish within a few months up to 2 years. We have medium-term goals, which can be accomplished between 2 and 5 years. And then we have long-term goals, which can be accomplished for more than 5 years. For Marta, her goals were short-term. She wanted to save for a wedding present for her friend. She wants to buy a new phone, and she wants to be able to pay off her credit card. Her medium-term goal is to be able to pay off her student loan, and she wants to go on vacation. And then long-term, she wants to be able to buy a car and be able to have a down payment for her home. So depending on where you're at in your, in your goals and in your life, your short, medium, and long-term goals can vary. Just keep in mind, it's important to set realistic goals. Like with Marta, she had 2 credit cards. She's only $700 in credit card debt. So it would make more sense that she would be able to pay those off in 2 years based on her income of $2,000. Medium-term goal, for her to be able to pay off her $12,000 student loan within 5 years. And then after that, she planned on buying her home. So again, the most important thing is being able to set a goal. By setting a goal for yourself, it's going to be able to help you budget.
I've done that several times.
And how do you feel when you meet your goals?
Oh, amazing. So
right? Amazing.
Yeah, my husband, I just got married. When we got married, we had a combined total of $48,000 in debt. I'm like, this is some bullshit. some mess.
Yes.
Excuse me. Because, I'm saying to myself, I didn't have that much debt. So now he comes with that. So, yeah. So the strategy we use is very similar to what you're talking about. It's just a different terminology. We call it chunking. So we're able to chunk away at, and I put all the debt on 3 0-interest credit cards that I obtained, and we chunked those cards down in 48 months. So we got rid of it, $48,000, no, in 9 months.
That's amazing. And the more you're determined, and like you said, you wrote your goals down, you came up with the plan, and then you went at it, right? So there probably were some sacrifices that you had to make to have that debt paid off. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
But you felt good afterwards, and in the end, being debt free, like that's huge.
It opened up more opportunities to create good debt.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so writing your goals, that, right? Like how you guys did, that made it seem more realistic. And when we write them down, you know, it helps us see where we're at, and knowing you have a goal in mind, you know, and taking that with you. So like if your goal is, maybe it's to go on vacation, you know, and you're going out shopping, take a picture of the vacation you want to go on, have it on your cell phone. Or for those of you that are in debt and want to be debt free, you know, is that shirt or that item that you're looking at purchasing worth, you know, your vacation, or worth you know, being in debt free? When you think about it, and you have a vision in mind of where you want to be or what you want to do, 9 out of 10 times, you'll pass on what it is you're looking to get, because you have a goal in mind and that's more important for you. So that's why I think it's really important to make sure that we're setting our goals. So now that we've learned about Marta, her debts, her financial goals, these are some tips on how you're able to create your own budget and some strategies.
Can I intervene right quick?
Yes.
What I've done, I created an Excel spreadsheet, which is my monthly budget. And what helps me, or should I say what would help me, is printing it off and putting it on my mirror. Because, you know, since COVID, a lot of people do a lot of online shopping. So it's easier because you're laying in the bed, you got your phone or your computer or your tablet next to you, and you in there shopping. But when you look up at that budget that you have on the mirror, and it has clothing or extras only $100, then that changes things as to what you're shopping for.
No, online. That's a great point. Thank you, Yvette. That is so true.
No, this is Cassandra, not Yvette.
Cassandra, I'm sorry, I can't tell who's speaking. Cassandra. Yeah, that's so true. I use not an Excel sheet, but I actually always have it with me in my, here, I'll share, I'll take myself off camera so you guys can see really quick. I actually have my budget book that I use. So I'm even more old school. I like to have it on paper, and I just track everything on here.
You muted yourself. Unmute.
Okay, I said I usually keep am I still muted?
No, you good.
Okay, that's what I use, a budget book. I literally have it always on my desk, and that's usually what I use to track my expenses, my spending, and then we also have separate accounts, just for one for our spending and then one for our bills. We also have different savings accounts for our different goals too. So just keep that in mind. You can always have more than one account. I always think it's easier to separate your bills from your personal spending. That way you're not spending money from your bills. But then when we're getting back to budget strategies, one is the 50-30-20 rule. And another one is categories method. So these are the two different methods that we're going to talk about. The 50-30-20 rule is one that a lot of people have heard about. With the 50-30-20 rule, this is usually the easier one to follow because it's not using a lot of numbers. The rule works by dividing your after-tax income and your net income and spending no more than 50% on that income on your needs, no more than 30% of your income on your wants, and no more than 20% of your income, or at least I should say 20% on savings or debt repayment. And then earlier, when we talked about Marta's expenses, as you could see, debt wasn't on there. Because debt, you know, when we think of expenses, it's our needs and our wants. Nobody ever wants debt or needs to have debt. So that's not considered part of our budgeting. So if we looked at Marta making her $2,000 per month using the 50-30-20 rule, when we look at everything, this is what she's spending. So if we look at the 50-30-20 rule, Marta shouldn't be spending no more than $1,000 on her needs, because that's half of her income. And she's currently spending $1,140. When we think of Marta's needs, she's over her needs by $140. When we think of her wants and not spending more than 30%, so she's actually $600 to get to her wants. She's actually spending under. And when we look at her debt / saving at 20%, she should be at about $400. And she's actually paying $400. $100 is going to her savings and $300 is going to her debt. So if she wanted to pay off and get out of debt sooner, or when we think of maybe some of her needs, I mean, she's way under in her wants, but she's going over in her needs. I mean, she could take a look at maybe cutting back some of her expenses. Maybe, you know, her car.
I want to know, where does she live where she only paying $500?
But remember, she also only makes $2,000. Not a realistic according to like.
But I get it. I'm just joking with you. I get it. When I saw it, I was like, huh?
I get it all the time. We wish we can go back to the days where we spend $100 even in groceries for the month. I think they just made it easy, simpler numbers. So when we look at it, she's actually over in needs, under in wants, and she's right where she should be with the 20% according to what she's making. So this is with the 50-30-20 rule. The second method is the categories method. That's more my method, and that's a lot of it, how it's broken down in my book. It's more detailed. It's a detailed breakdown of categories and percentages. So an example would be 30% of your income is going to housing, 10% to utilities, 10% to groceries, 10% to transportation, debt repayment, 10%, 10% to savings, dining out, car insurance, clothing, and entertainment are under 5%. So when we look at this method with Marta, her income of $2,000, this is everything Marta is spending in this category. It's just broken down more. And some strategies for savings. Just make a habit of saving, deciding how much you want to save and sticking to it. It's going to help being able to put some of that in automatic savings account will help you do that. Limit your spending. So like someone mentioned earlier, have that spreadsheet by you when you're lying down shopping, so it'll help you not spend, and just have your goals with you, so that way you can get help with limiting your spending. And again, another strategy would be have different accounts for your savings goals. If you have 3 different savings goals, short, medium, long term, you can have 3 different savings accounts, especially if you're always going to have 3 separate goals. And then the same with the different checking accounts. And then just some key takeaways. Just remember, there's many different strategies for budgeting. The most important thing is to be able to just manage your spending, your savings, and debt repayment. When approaching your debt repayment, think of the different strategies we talked about today, such as the avalanche method or the snowball method. And then if anything, speak to someone that you trust, like a friend, financial advisor, for additional support. Setting personal, meaningful goals helps you stay motivated and on track in both short and long term. Check in with your goals. So it's important to check in and see where you're at. If it's a short-term goal, maybe you want to check once a month. For medium and long-term goals, at least quarterly, to see where you're at, and to see if you're on track. If you're not on track, it's okay. The most important thing is to stop and figure out how to get back on track. Don't just throw your budget out the window or throw the strategy out the window. Just, take a step back and see where you went wrong, and again, adjust so that way you're able to get back on track and start budgeting.
I know for me, number 3 is the best thing I've ever did. I have a good friend that I told her what my goal was. I had a short-term goal because I have my birthday cruise coming up, and I wanted a certain amount of money to go. And I said, hey, I need to set this aside so that I won't mess with it. And she said, okay, send it to me. And I sent her certain amount of money every single month. And when I tell you, she does not budge. I can't call her crying about anything. She's like,
great,
no.
though. You got
She's like,
friend
no.
support.
Yes, I have friend support, and that's I love that. And oh yeah, I'm glad that you're putting it up. I spoke with someone about it, and then you also have the QR code for Top Flight, and letting you know as far as Top Flight as well. So that's all I want to say. I love that budgeting, using someone else that you can trust. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes, no, it's important to use someone you can trust, someone that knows what your financial goals are, so that way they can help you, right? And that way when you're at the store shopping, it's going to be like, Cassandra, that cruise, that birthday cruise that you want, so that way you're not spending that money. The next thing I have to share, if you guys wanted to scan the QR code, is just because you're participating in the workshop, you have access to and because you're a member of Top Flight Defense, you guys have access to our Smart Progress, which is a financial educational tool that we have. We have over 30 different topics that you can take advantage of. We've added topics for small business owners now. So if you're a small business owner or no small business owner who would like to take, just have additional resources, They can scan the QR code. You can scan the QR code and share it with them. If you know someone who maybe has a teen and wants just how to be able to speak to their teens on saving money, or maybe they have someone going to college and they want access to additional resources and articles, our digital online tool for our financial program is great. You guys could take advantage. There's many videos that you guys can see, 3 to 5 minute videos. There's a personalized playlist that can help you with different topics. So you have that, and then you can also take advantage if you're in need of another account, or if you're in need of a bank or looking to make changes. We've partnered up with Top Flight to also offer you guys an offer for banking with BMO. You could take advantage of our checking account and get up to $200 for our checking account. You can get $250 for our credit cards. There's an offer for our savings account. Total, you can get up to $660 depending on the accounts that you open up. But we do have different checking account products that you can take advantage of that have no minimum balance, no monthly fees. For our savings account, we're actually paying you to save. We have a great savings builder account. Again, no minimum balance, no monthly fees. And then we have our great credit card with Christmas time. Someone mentioned on our workshop that they actually use a 0% balance transfer card to pay off some debt, and was able to pay off debt. You can do that as well and get some cash back too with a credit card. So these are just additional options that you have if you didn't or want to bank with us or in need of a bank. You can scan the QR code and then take advantage of that as well.
Do you want to also mention that we're going to be doing that workshop, or but we haven't really set up a date yet for our workshop that we're going to do with you? I remember for the small business.
Yes. So we do also have just like 8 different workshops now that we offer. So with Top Flight, we're going to set up a workshop for small business owners. We have small business, one of their workshops that just covers all the different business services that a business needs within a bank. We talk about business credit, how to build business credit, different types of business credit that you'll need for your business. We have one where we talk about cash flow, income statements, financial statements. We review what that looks like. We also have developing a business plan for your business. So those are just some of the different workshops that we offer and that are going to be coming up soon. And then next month, I believe our workshop, is it on credit?
I think it is, your credit score.
Yep. So next month, we're going to have a workshop on credit score. We're going to talk about where credit comes from, why it's important to review your credit, how to review your credit for free. We'll talk about credit scores. If you have credit difficulties, some of the things that you can do if your credit, challenged to get out of that. So stay tuned for next month.
Yep, it's going to be December 20th, always on a Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. But we ask that you come in early because sometimes we don't necessarily have to stay to the entire time. We stay only if people are in need of questions or help with something. But I thank you so much. So does anyone have any questions, whether it's on Facebook or here on the Zoom? I'm gonna keep it open for a little while longer. I'm not sure with Facebook, we have some people on here, but my niece had answered some questions. No one's saying anything there. What about on Zoom? Is there any questions here? Unmute yourself if you have any questions. All right, silence is golden. All right, so since we don't have any questions, once again, I am the walking commercial. Log in to Top Flight Defense Incorporated on YouTube. You will see all of the classes that we have conducted. We go live on Facebook whenever we can. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Once again, sign up, subscribe to our newsletter when you go to our website, www.topflightdefenseinc.org. And that's all I have. You have anything else you want to say, Ms. Torres?
Don't. You guys have a great evening.
All right, well, thank you. And we will see you. Hopefully my computer screen will be working better, but we'll see you again on next Tuesday when we're talking, well, not next Tuesday, next month, December 20th, when we're talking about your credit scores.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.